tiramisu for everyone.
Oh my god! Today, I'm being joined by the women behind Mumbai's iconic restaurants, Late Checkout, Gigi, Eve, and so many more.
First restaurant happened from that idea that I love to host people.
Every time I visit Bandra, I am just like flooded with like new places to go.
No way in hell are we opening a restaurant here.
What's the most overhyped food trend right now?
Matcha. Try selling matcha in an opaque glass. Will not sell. Because I'm feeling hungry.
We'll go grab a bite of.
I got tiramisu for everybody.
Hi everyone, I'm Heenal and welcome back to the Founders Podcast. Today I'm being joined by the women behind Mumbai's iconic restaurants, Late Checkout, Gigi, Eve, and so many more. She is building the fastest independent company in the hospitality industry. Nikita Harsinghani. Hi, how are you doing today?
Great. Thank you for that amazing introduction.
Aline, I had to. You are the vision behind the Talk of the Town restaurant.
Taking too
in
much
Mumbai.
credit for it. Taking too
Yeah.
much credit for it. But thank you for having me here. I've been binge watching your content. Love every episode I have
Thank you.
watched. So I'm very excited to be here.
Great. I think I'm just going to set context on what's really on the menu for today's episode. We're going to be basically breaking down how are you building a restaurant business which is profitable in a delivery first world? What does it really take to even build a restaurant in our country and the whole story behind it?
Yeah.
So let's start with, I think, the talk of the town, Late Checkout. How did you come up with this concept?
So I'll tell you the story behind it. It's pretty funny. My husband and I, we run the hospitality company together, and we went to this mill, and we saw this textile mill. Right
Okay.
now, the minute you walk in, and I'll actually send you a video of the minute you walk in, it is in a very bad state of.
Right.
The condition is horrible. My husband walks in, and he's like, "No way in hell are we opening a restaurant here." And in my head, I'm like, where am I going to get a structure like this?
Yeah.
You know, it's a standalone structure. You don't get that in Bombay
Yeah.
anywhere. So I convinced him. I also told him that the rent is very low. So let's take on that
Yeah.
challenge, and if it fails, we'll make it our office because the rent is that low. It's
Okay.
worth giving it a shot. And we thought. I mean, restaurant fit outs normally you get 3 to 4 months to make a restaurant when you're not paying rent. And I also was designing the restaurant, and I had hit a roadblock with regards to how do I do justice with this standalone structure, and why will someone want to travel to Lower Parel, then travel into that mill?
Yeah.
It has to be a strong case on point that I want to go to this place.
Yeah.
So it needs to look larger than life. So we decided to open up the roof, add glass roof, and all of that. It took me 1 year. So it took me 1 year to get that place ready.
And you designed the entire thing.
Yes.
Wow.
And I remember last 3 months of getting ready, I was having that conversation with my husband, and I'm like, we're in deep shit. We are very over budget.
Yeah.
And his reply to me was that if these 3 months, that detailing that you're looking into, do you think these 3 months are going to help with that profit in the coming months? I was like, I'll cover these 3 months rent and my first month's profit. So he's like, then there's no question. Take that time,
that,
but
yeah.
get it right. So it started with that, and it's right now my most favorite place. You will on a Saturday evening see Pawan behind the bar. I'll be speaking to guests. It feels like home.
Yeah.
It's very casual. I've made so many friends there. So it that
Became like a space for yourself at the end.
that movie scene that I'll retire, I will have my bar by the beach. This is what's happening right now.
Yeah. I think everybody, all of us when we were young thought at some point I'll own a restaurant or I'll have a cafe, I'll have a bar,
Yeah.
and that's like a dream. But I think what you mentioned, right, like the confidence that in 1 month you'll make it profitable. And I'm like, I don't think you're the only one who loves Late Checkout. Everybody loves it. It was like viral. And when I went to see all your restaurants, they've all grabbed the eye of the Indian consumers. What do you think that it is that you've been tapping into that's working with every chain or every restaurant that you're opening?
At the time, we were in Eve, when we were thinking of Eve as a brand. We saw the property. I hated the property when I saw it the first time. I'll tell you why, because it didn't, I am a very I like outdoor area. I like a standalone structure. That's just how my design person, the human that I am, works that way. So before that, there was a restaurant operating. You had the property that it was. You had an entrance. You had staircase, and then you have your main dining area.
Yeah.
Now, anybody who's thinking from a restaurant point of view, they will put in all their budgets towards the dining area, because that's where your consumer is spending about 2 hours in dining in, right? But because we were from our marketing background, and for me, every little detail mattered, I spent a lot of money from the entrance till the experience where someone walks in till they leave. Everything is so well put together that they will talk about it when they go back home. And the earlier restaurant had just a staircase, like any other restaurant. What we did is that, we're going to make it larger than life. I am going to make a double height library wall. I am going to put 14,000 books in it. Nobody in their right mind would want to spend money on a place that a customer is going to spend not more than 10 minutes. So we did that, and we were the first ones in the market that anyone walked in, we were giving them a welcome drink. It was not happening. A lot of people would walk in, have the welcome drink and leave. But for me, it was all about giving value.
And I think it's also the experience, like you rightly said, it's the experience. Because I remember exactly the library and the stairs, now that you're describing it, I'm being able to picture Eve
You
in
won't
that way.
believe now, everybody in that restaurant, there's a queue to line up in front of the library and take that picture. So like you said, everybody will remember that space with that picture in mind. So that real estate that nobody cared about turned out to be the biggest gainer for us.
Yeah. That's smart. And I think, of course, at the time of COVID, we had this whole surge of Instagrammable cafes and content coming out.
I hate that word.
Yeah.
I hate that word.
But didn't that help you? I mean, like, blah. I went to Blah because I saw it on Instagram and I said, this looks so cool. It's like none of the restaurants are built because it was different. At that time, I was seeing this difference come in. Donna Delhi, I've been there. What a vibe. When you enter, I mean, outside of the road, I feel like I'm in Bombay. The minute I enter, it's like, okay, Bombay nahi hai. It's somewhere nice I've come to.
With Eve, we started adding so much detail. I would spend insane amount of money on just washrooms, and my husband would be going crazy over it because he's like, people are not going to dine here. You have carpets in the washroom. What's wrong with you? And vanity mirrors and all of that. And but I feel like if a consumer walks into your washroom and feels like, oh, they thought about even this little detail, that they've really put in an effort. And then you will want to call in your friends, your family to come dine in because you also want to flex. I have discovered this place. It's beautiful in every way. And of course, food and service follows. I feel like food and service are like bare necessary things that you have to get right? How are you going to differentiate yourself? It's the experience.
Right. So I think it's experience, food, and
100%.
everything like that. That's
but
how it kind of follows.
Food and service, if you get that wrong, I couldn't be having you sit in the most beautiful place. But you're not going to come back. So in at least in metros, food and services, bare minimum, you need to get it right.
That's also because we as Indians really, like, we kind of expect that also when we go to restaurants. Abroad, I mean, obviously the culture is very, very different. But in India, I know that the comment instantly goes like, okay, the waiter's not got my attention. Like, he's taking a second longer. Like, it kind of comes because we as Indians are also quite like, it has to kind of be perfect.
We love to host.
We
love to host. My first restaurant happened from that idea that I love to host people. And it would mean a lot. Someone's coming in, celebrating their anniversary, celebrating their birthday, and I can add a bit to that. And they'll remember those memories forever. So we Indians love to host, and I think that's where it stems from.
Nice. And you mentioned about Gigi, right? Like, in being very distinctive. Of course, you worked on the interiors yourself. So what was your thought behind creating something this unique and obviously positioning it, because you said people take pride in saying I'm recommending the restaurant to you.
Yeah.
I was out on a girls' weekend and they were all from Soho, so let me just be honest.
Yeah.
And we were just having a chat, and Gigi came into conversation very naturally as a place they'd like to just visit.
Yeah.
Even if it's just to grab a cup of coffee, I'm going to go to Gigi. I will not go to a cafeteria.
Yeah.
I'm going to go there. What is it that you've created that has got people wanting to just be at Gigi?
Again, this is a very crazy story. I'll tell you what happened with us.
Yeah.
So Gigi was supposed to be only the first floor.
Okay.
So it's 2 floors.
Yeah.
We have 1,500 square feet, which is the entrance, and then we have about 6,000, 5,500, 6,000 upstairs with
Okay,
kitchen
wow.
and everything, back area
Yeah.
and all of that. When that property came to us, the first floor was only available. So someone
Oh,
to enter Gigi would have to enter the building, take the lift, and then come to the first floor.
right.
And because I was designing it, I said no to my husband for that property. And he's like, what is going to make you say yes? Because getting that bigger space in Bandra is also rare.
Yeah.
And I was like, if it had a entrance foyer like how Eve Powai has, because if you're expecting a lot of high profile people coming, you don't want them going through a lift and entering and all of that. So he's like, okay. He went back. We ended up taking the retail space that was there on the ground floor, and then we broke and we made a staircase
Okay.
to go to the first floor. Now we wanted for a private lobby, you need 400 square feet, 500 tops. This was 1,500 square feet. What do you do with 1,500 square feet of space? And I had my broker saying, let's put a little cafe here. My Vastu consultant, put up have a pastry section, like monetize it in some way. You're paying lakhs in rent just for the ground floor. You've got to monetize it in some way.
Right.
And that's when your psychology works and how aspirations work. The reception area, 1,500 square feet, someone walks in. The first idea that is going to hit them, 90% of restaurants or cafes in Bandra will fit in this 1,500 square feet that they have decided to make a lobby.
Yeah.
Right? So now when you're in that lobby and you're going to be like, I want to go upstairs. I want to be a part of that.
Like, what is there? What is there?
Very aspirational.
Yeah.
Right? That lobby that I have in a lot of people, it was in the beginning was a hindsight where everybody thought that, this is a big blunder. She's wasting so much space. For me, I think that was the biggest yes for us. Even today, magazines, agencies, all of them have something planned that they want to do in the lobby and then, have their event upstairs. It's a big selling point for us.
Yeah.
So I think I think that was one big defining moment that changed a lot of things for us.
I think what you said, like at the start, just connecting back those 10 years of your marketing, I can see that come out because I don't think anywhere we've spoken about the restaurant. It's all about the consumer and what does the consumer want. And I mean, what are these, like, where are you getting these insights from that is driving you? Are you like always on the go taking feedback from your customers? Like, what is it? Because look, I'll tell you, 60% of the restaurants in India shut in the first year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
After COVID, I feel like every time I visit Bandra, I am just like flooded with like new places to go. That's how quickly places are going and coming. But you're sustaining it, you're being profitable in the same interim that everybody went through COVID.
Yeah.
So I really want to know, what's your secret sauce of getting this customer inside?
I think very obsessive. My husband and me both are like that.
Right.
To a neurotic level where we'd be dining in a restaurant. He is asking, and it's a different restaurant, we're on a date. He's checking the service, how good they can answer, know about the menu. I am lifting the cutlery, crockery, and seeing which brand are they using. When we were opening our first hotel, the first 6 months that we were building the hotel, I must have gone to at least 50 hotels. And I was flipping mattresses.
Oh my God.
To find which brand, which is the most comfiest
comfiest.
bed. I remember going to Barcelona.
Seems like a fun market research.
It's not. It ruins vacations for you. It ruins restaurant dates for you. Imagine. My friends hate going out with me.
Yeah.
Especially to restaurants. They're like, it becomes work for us also. I mean, when we went to, I won't believe, we went to Barcelona, and this is right before, I think we were opening late checkout,
Yeah.
and we were in that ideating phase, and we had a list of bars that we wanted to go for inspiration, and we found this one bar, and I just love the arch
Okay.
inside the bar.
Yeah.
So now my husband is taken on this task where he is making sure that the bartender is busy. I have my measuring tape and now measuring the arch
Oh
side
my God.
in an operational restaurant. I'm not even kidding, right? And I'm drawing. This is the size of the arch. This is what I need to do. And you know, I'm
These are the
writing this.
dimensions. This is how it wants to.
In Bombay also, so
Yeah.
many restaurants that I love their design. If they see their CCTV, they'll see me with the tape somewhere. I'm measuring something.
I love it. I love it. You're like all out. Like
I think
trying to.
the thing is, I mean, today also when I meet people and they're like, 8 restaurants, you know, they'll, first thing is like family business. I'm like, no, dad is very rich. Paise kahan se aa rahe hain, right? I was like, no, the first restaurant that we actually consulted, it was a failed restaurant,
Oh.
right? And we were managing partners there. So we're like, okay, don't give us equity. We're just managing partners. If we can help you gain profits, then we make money. If you don't, then even we don't. So
Understood.
started from that. And any time that I have 5, 6, 7 crores invested in any of our restaurants, I think there's a lot of responsibility that comes to my head, more than
Yeah.
debt, because I want to make sure that whatever they would make, if had they given it out
Yeah.
to someone else, should be more with us.
Understood.
So it's a lot of burden also.
Yeah,
So
of
then
course.
the only way that you can, I feel, have that passion is because you're responsible for someone else's money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's where also it stems from.
Yeah, that's interesting because you speak about profitability in restaurants. And like I mentioned, like I don't see like we all had a dream to start a bar and start
Yeah.
a restaurant. When I started out, the first feedback I was given because when I started out with my company, in my first 6 to 8 months, I used to create content for Kyama actually.
Wow.
We used to just create content for restaurants. It was like an initial gig, right?
Yeah.
Freelancing. Kyama, Mahesh Lunch Home, Mato Mato.
Yeah.
I've done it for them, and unfortunately, 2, 3 of them did end up shutting down because they didn't sustain profitably because of just the variety of options customers have. So, how are you managing profitability, especially when your restaurants are just launching? It's been 1, 2 years.
Say for example, you make 100 rupees revenue,
Mm.
and if I have to break that 100 rupees, 25 to 30%, 30 rupees or percentage of that would go towards your COGS, which is your food and your liquor that you're
Right.
serving. So that's
Yeah.
right there. A healthy percentage is 25%.
Okay.
Another 25% goes towards your staff salaries.
Okay.
Right? So
fair.
50% of your 100 rupee revenue is gone right there.
Yeah.
Another 15%, which is slightly higher, but because in Bombay real estate is very expensive, goes towards your rent.
Right.
So 65%
Is-
gone
yeah,
right
gone.
there. Another 10% is a mix of maintenance, utilities like your gas, your fire, electricity. And in that 10% also consider marketing,
Okay.
right? We spend very little on marketing because that's been our ethos.
Yeah.
Spend not more than 2% on marketing every month.
Oh, wow.
Now left with 75%
Mm.
expenses, and you're left with 25%, which is your EBITDA.
Right.
After that, you minus the taxes and all of that, घर पे आता है 15%.
That's a low margin.
That's very slim. And let me tell you, if you're doing this number, you're already in the top 10% of restaurants. Because if anything,
This is like
25,
your idealistic.
25 and above, you're golden,
Understood.
right? Most
Got it.
people are at after net profit is at 7, 8,
Yeah, yeah.
9%. Real estate is very expensive in India. I mean,
Yeah.
a Bombay place rental matches up to a place in New York or London Main Street, right? It's very expensive.
Yeah, like Bombay is getting
So it
crazier.
eats up into your margins.
Yeah. How
Um,
do you
and-
stay profitable like with such thin margins?
I think most people enter this industry with a lot of passion and without knowing the economics of it,
Yeah.
right? I have this line and I used to tell this to everybody, design your PNL before you design your logo. Like,
Yeah.
understand the economics of. And second problem that happens, and most first-time restaurateurs make this mistake, they don't account for enough working capital.
Yeah.
So if a restaurant say needs 5 crores to make, they will be at 4.5 and they'll be like 50 lakh बना लेंगे and then working capital तो
We'll figure it out.
वो तो जैसे चलेगा पहले महीने से profit आने वाला है. Most of the restaurants in the first 6 months, the overheads are so heavy because you're still working with
Yeah.
the exec chef, your main GM. You're going to find out a lot of problems and everything is going to be at an expense.
Right.
So you don't have that runway of that working capital and the overheads are so heavy. If 2 months you don't have working capital, it is enough to
Yeah.
shut that restaurant.
Yeah.
So for me,
What's like an ideal range of working capital that somebody starting a restaurant business should keep?
10%. So say for example, if you're looking at 6 crores, I would look at least 60 lakhs
Yeah.
working capital. that
And
you
how
have.
long do you think that it takes to just even get a little profit or break even?
So we've been lucky. We've always, from the first month onwards, we've been profitable. But it depends on how much investment you've put in. Any restaurant takes up to about 2.5 years to break even with regards to the investment they've put in.
Yeah, it's a long term
It's a very long term
return. Yeah.
we've managed to achieve that in 1.5 years
Oh, wow.
in most of our restaurants. But yeah, 2.5 years.
Yeah, it's a long game. That's why I don't think a lot stay or can even sustain it because of just how long it takes.
Yeah. And you have to be consistent every day. Today, you walked in, you've loved the vibe. You walk in 1 week later, and maybe the guest relations person didn't greet you. Maybe the dish that you liked, the chef wasn't happy that day and it didn't come out that way. So now you hate the restaurant.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you dine in our restaurants 10 times, it's a high possibility that something will go wrong. And then you will write that. And I think it's the only business
Yeah.
where you have to be consistent every day.
Yeah.
It's not like a product that I've made and I've sent it to you. It's not going to be the same every time.
Yeah.
And that's the difficult part. And I think that's the part you have to work towards a lot.
Yeah. Have you ever had an experience of getting a harsh customer review and how have you been able to like flip that or deal?
You know, Zomato and Swiggy only places where you will have bad reviews because someone really feels very angry. Very rarely you'll see people who are very happy taking that effort and
Yeah, that's true.
right. But I've had funny cases. One restaurant, we had this one lady dining in with us, and she's holding the cocktail glass in her hand, and she drops it, and my manager goes up to her, and he's like, sorry, we'll bill you for this, and she's like, no, it's your fault. So he's like, why do you think it's my fault? Her reply to that was that your air conditioning is the air con. It's so cold, my hand froze and the glass dropped.
Oh my God.
So I want my entire bill to be comped off.
Because the AC was too cold.
AC is too cold. So I've had those. I've had some very entitled guests who would, for the smallest of reasons, would fight with our team, and that's when we have always told if at any point any guest gets abusive, you can decide to like step out of that conversation and you can have someone at a senior level deal with them. Because while we are also consumer first, customer first, we're also employee first.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that they have ownership towards.
I mean, they're
the
like
restaurant.
literally managing everybody.
It's very
who comes.
difficult a job, yeah. Very difficult a job. They are the only workforce that's working on Christmas and New Year's.
I was just going to say hospitality is the only industry. My sister worked at Food Matters for a bit, and I remember it was Independence Day and everything. She's like, I have to go. I'm like, we're working, and I'm like, oh yeah, like when the world takes a vacation, the hospitality industry.
They are there every
Right. So I'm guessing you're getting into like your extremely heavy months.
Yeah.
Do you see that sort of like a festive season rush come into restaurants? Is that something you've been noticing? Especially, I think after COVID, people have just started going out a lot more.
October, November, December, Jan. Best months.
Best months.
Best months. Everybody.
All around India, right?
All around India. Everybody's out to spend. Everybody's out to have a good time. So for us, especially after Ganpati and Pradushan and all of that, it's from October end that it picks up.
Right.
And November, December, January are very important, I would
Yeah.
suggest. If any restaurant was to launch, best time to launch would be August, September. So you can get that
Tap into
initial,
that rush.
yeah, and you'll get that boost of revenue in the first 4 months.
So I recently went to 1633 in Bandra. It's really small, okay? It's literally half the size of my room.
Yeah.
It was a Tuesday night. I didn't have place to
That-
stand. And I think over the years, at least in the last 2 years, I am just seeing, like, even on a Monday, if I have to take my parents, we have to like book. I'm seeing the shift that now weekday nights are becoming bigger than weekend nights, at least. I mean, I'm seeing Indians kind of get out a lot more. There
Yeah.
was also a recent stat, I think, in one of the articles we read where they said, like, in Delhi, people dine out at least 9 times a month, which is big for
Yeah.
India. What is the shift you're seeing? Are you seeing the shift in your restaurants? And is it only in urban India that's kind of happening?
Urban, the last report I read, it's 16 times a month.
Oh,
apparently. Yeah, it's
wow.
much higher.
16 times a
yes,
month.
yes,
Mom,
yes.
hear that.
In urban cities, yes. And it's just going to keep growing, right? Because in entertainment, you have only two avenues. You have restaurants and you have movies.
Yeah.
And you've not had a very good run with movies lately. So, restaurant becomes your default option.
Yeah.
But also the problem is that it's only the 5 to 10% of the restaurants getting that footfall. The rest 90% who have not got the product right, they are even empty on a Friday, Saturday.
Right.
Right? The problem is that everybody wants to go to the 8 place. Everybody wants to go to those handful 20 places that will keep coming back to you because you had a great experience. So you want to go back to the same place. You don't want to keep trying. You will give new restaurants one try.
Yeah.
Every time a new restaurant opens up, first 3 months, it's going to be packed because everybody in Bombay or Delhi will want to try it.
Yeah.
But having said that, I think dining out culture is increasing.
Increasing.
Especially after COVID. Especially after COVID. Earlier I used to not really go out on a Wednesday, but even now, you've had a hectic day and work has just become hectic. That hustle culture has set in. So you want to drink by the end of the evening, whether it's a Wednesday or Thursday.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, for us, day checkout Thursdays are like very important.
Oh.
Which is
Thursdays?
Yes, which is a big because Bandra's always Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Right? But I didn't know Sobo's Thursdays do better than our Wednesdays.
Because delivery food is taking up such a big spike. People are wanting to deliver. Like, look, I'm of that nature. Now that I know Bombay's out, I'm in. I like to go out once in a while, but it obviously isn't as frequent.
Yeah.
So how are you tackling your sales being consistent and driving people to get to the restaurant when delivery is also taking such a big spike in our country?
Our population is too big, yeah.
I agree.
You could be ordering 4 times a week, but on a Friday, Saturday, you want to go out.
Yeah.
Because we are living in like small houses. We want to venture out. So I don't think deliveries has ever eaten into dine-in business. Also, delivery as a business, we have stayed away from because I feel without scalability, it's not possible to make money in deliveries.
Yeah.
Right? With the commissions that you pay.
Yeah.
Unless you have a central kitchen, you have at least 15, 20 outposts, it's not possible to make money in delivery.
Yeah.
So,
and I really like, obviously personal opinion, but I just hate restaurants delivering food because it's never the way you'd get it at the place. Like, I mean, I'd never eat like a Beirut or even like a Sinona's. I will never order it because I'm like, it's just better to be eaten there. And I think that's also the experience of being in a
100%,
restaurant.
100%.
In some of your content I read, speaking about experiential dining. So I heard the concept. I think Gigi also has that, right? Like you can have like a 4-5 course meal and like a dine-in experience, right? I'm seeing a lot of people who just are passionate to cook, hosting like
supper clubs.
Yeah, supper
everywhere.
clubs and like, dining
Everywhere.
experiences at the houses, right? So what is your take on experiential dining and what's the real extent of it? Because Like, how much do Indian consumers value this experience?
They'll pay more for a better experience,
Yeah.
definitely. And there's so many new age concepts coming up, and I think that's the need of the hour. That same copy paste model will not work.
Hmm.
It will not be sustainable for a lot of years because you'll have so many new formats come in and everybody wants to try those new formats. I'll give you an example. I was recently traveling abroad and I went to this bar.
Hmm.
It was called Bar Us,
Okay.
and they're only serving cocktails, no food. But if you go through their menu, the menu is in a form of an a la carte menu.
Okay.
They have appetizers, they have mains, they have desserts.
Okay.
So in the main, say for example, you order a ramen that's on the
Right.
list, they will give you a cocktail that tastes exactly like a ramen,
Oh,
right? So say for example, if
that's
I
so
tried,
unique. That's so unique.
super unique. So the entire menu, everything, entrees, mains, they were all dishes,
Okay.
famous dishes like pad thai.
Okay.
Cocktail comes in, tastes exactly like pad thai. Yeah, that I also went to Sips in Barcelona.
Okay.
You know how you have sit down dinners for food?
Mm.
They had sit down dinners for cocktails.
Wow.
So it's a 15 course
Cocktail.
cocktails.
Wow, that's you will just be drunk by the end of
It
it.
was so well balanced, and
Yeah.
it was little sips. It's not like you're not having a
Obviously, yeah.
like a big cocktail. So and the bartender's making the drink in front of you.
Wow.
You have like 10 people in that room,
Mm.
and the bartender is explaining this is what I'm putting in, this is finger lime, this is where I sourced this from, and the whole cocktails when it's theatrics in motion.
Wow.
And yeah, like these experiences, I went back in Amsterdam, told so many people that when you visit, you must do this. And I see that a lot of that coming back home as
Yeah.
well.
It's my childhood dream to open a bar. Let's see. Let's see how far I make it. But coming to that, I mean, so many people dream of starting a restaurant. I want to know what are the top 3 things that someone should look for. Things that you just cannot go wrong with these basics, and that's what really makes or break a restaurant.
First time restaurateurs, I would say get the right consultants. You don't have the right experience. If you're only driven by passion, it's going to last for 6 months. It's a very tough business. You're firefighting all the time. You want people who have been in the industry with years of experience to guide you right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you 3 key consultants that even today also a lot of times when we were starting out, we had these consultants. One is of course interiors and architecture. Second would be MEP, which will basically help you with what your kitchen layout is going to look like, what
Okay.
machines do you need for that, where your
Yeah.
kitchen exhaust going to be, how your HVAC is going to be, all of that. Number 3 would be service. Go that extra mile. Very important to go that extra mile because I feel like consumer will always remember you for
Yeah.
that. At late checkout recently this happened. A guest walked in at like 12:30. Kitchen was shut. So there was no way we could help him with food. We offered cocktails, but he kept insisting that he needed something to eat. Now at this point, my kitchen staff has left.
Right.
Only my service staff and my bar team is there. So me, my husband, someone from my bar team, my head chef was there. We had popcorn, we had Maggie. We made it and we offered to them at like 1 a.m.
How nice.
So I feel that going that extra mile
Yeah.
is very important because the difference in service and hospitality is that, say for example, you've come to me and you've come to a busy night and you don't have a reservation, and my receptionist goes like, listen, we don't have a reservation, sorry, can't help you. And he's like, no, it's my birthday, please help me. And she's like, no, sorry, I can't help you. That's one way of how service would work. Second way of it would be that why the person who's dealing with the customer would go like, I really want to make sure that we celebrate your birthday, and however she's making calls, she's speaking to my team, he can see that effort.
Yeah.
He can see that she's really trying. In the end, if you can't accommodate, you can't accommodate, but he will always go back with the feeling that she really wanted me to be there.
That she tried.
That effort was
Yeah,
needed,
yeah.
right? So for us, I think that's key, and I feel everybody, if you're starting a first restaurant, be on floor. Like, take care of your guests.
Okay. What's the one untapped opportunity in India's restaurant industry that you see?
Um, I think we need to modernize Indian food.
Hmm.
I feel that's very important. It needs to be palatable and spoken about internationally because we have such a varied, diverse culture when it comes to regional food. If we could modernize it, sky's the limit.
Okay. This is very interesting. Before I close, I just want to know what's the next big step for Chrome Hospitality.
Um, so for us right now, idea was to open a lot of different formats
Hmm.
and have that proof of concept and then double down on these. So like Eve has already 3 locations,
Yeah.
late checkout. We're planning to um, have at least 10 locations in the next 2 years, pan India. We as a company right now, our turnover across all our restaurants is about 150 CR.
Oh wow.
We want to get that to 500 crores in about the next 1.5 year. So that's pretty much what we have planned. And we also want to try different concepts. That's something that drives me even till date. We come up with some random concept and then we start doing R&D around it. Takes about like before we dive into anything, we do about 6 to 7, 8 months of R&D and
Okay.
then explore that opportunity. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're looking at for the next at least 2 years.
Yeah, and then I hope to see late checkout open in New York. You know, this time not just go for the takeover.
I would love that. My
Yeah.
husband would love that.
Yeah, I think that's also like I think what I would say like a 5-6 year goal for you. But
100%.
thank you for
100%.
doing this. This was extremely interesting and insightful. I think the touch of your word of mouth marketing strategy that you're doing so organically is really working. And I think having you here just kind of showed me the whole world of how smartly marketing can just be implemented in even an industry which has margins as thin as like 5-10%, you know. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed.
I loved it. Thank you so much for having me here. I've had a blast. And I hope the next time I meet you is going to be in your own restaurant.
Yes. I hope your mouth's more watering just like mine because this conversation was extremely interesting. You know where you can find her on a Saturday, either at late checkout or at Toto's. This conversation really explained what it is to build a restaurant business in India. If you liked it, please like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next one.